Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest, Chapter 111. When we last left our heroes, we focused basically entirely on the climax of the Loxus-Kirin fight, as Loxus was still struggling against Kirin, especially after Kirin slammed him into the coffin with Alexian's soul, so that Alexian could devour Loxus and become whole again. It didn't really work though, because Loxus ended up tearing the lacrima out of his chest, which was cool as hell. And breaking free of the coffin, he gave Kirin's what ended up being bullshit about Alexian only wanting the heart so that Alexian could kill him in revenge for Kirin eating him. And Loxus either has had the lacrima in him so long that his lightning powers now come naturally to him, or he had one last bit of Dragon Slayer magic thanks to the lacrima that he used on one final hit on Kirin, seemingly taking him out of the fight, and ending the battle. So now the only real threat left in the labyrinth is Dogramag at this point. Selene's basically beaten down by Ignia. Ignia's left, and that just leaves Natsu and Suzaku dealing with Dogramag. And given the title, Chapter 111, Cries of the Earth, it certainly seems like that's going to be the focus today. So our picture here, though, is Lucy and Wendy at the beach. Lucy, splashing at the camera. The arrival of summer puts a smile on their faces. We pick up back with Dogramag, as the title implied, as Natsu and Suzaku are sort of, staring him down, ready for the fight to continue. He's got this, figure-8 ring of rocks around him. And he just sort of, is standing there all smug as Natsu and Suzaku just glare. And we see Happy and Selene watching. Happy, concerned for Natsu's safety. Selene, on her deathbed, can only watch. And the two of them charge. Let's go! To arms! And Dogramag just raises his hand. It's very Master Xehanort and, the Birth by Sleep scene, as, the pillars of earth rise around them. And Natsu, bounces around them, is able to, find his footing okay, but it's a bit of a struggle. But brings down Fire Dragons! Iron Fist! And he brings the flames to Dogramag. And it does nothing. The smoke clears, not even, any dirt on Dogramag's cheek. He just grins at Natsu and summons this, orb of stone. Turns it, or not an orb, it seemed an orb at first, was actually a fist that he pounds Natsu down with. Gah! And Happy calls, Natsu! And Suzaku readies his attack. Kornugi-style sword-drawing art. Underworld Purgatory Dance. Which I think is the exact move that did so much damage to Selene's human form. But it does nothing to Dogramag. Did y'all forget? The labyrinth's walls can't be broken. And Suzaku flashes back to realizing that himself, as does Natsu. So is the labyrinth, maybe the labyrinth is made of Dogramag's body, which is why this is doing nothing. Because, the attacks that couldn't really hurt the walls can't hurt Dogramag. He readies some more stone. If you can't break the labyrinth, what makes you think you can break me? Earth Dragon God Zeiki Tora. And he does this, pose, it's very reminiscent of, Ice Shell. But it's just bringing down, a wave of stone on Natsu and Suzaku. They both sort of cry out in pain. Gwah! Whoa! But the cries of the earth tremble. Which is the chapter title, Cries of the Earth. And the stones continue to fall around them. But Natsu's actually sort of, able to dodge the stones here. And he hits the stone. Oh, that's clever there. He's not going to try to actually damage Dogramag himself. And he's not going to break this stone he punches. He's just going to redirect it at Dogramag. Try this! And he throws it at Dogramag, and Dogramag just shatters it. Doesn't actually do anything. So Natsu goes back to his old tricks with a Fire Dragon's talon to Dogramag's head. And it does nothing. No dice. And he just throws Natsu aside. Suzaku readies his blade, and Dogramag just catches it as he swings, and then throws him back towards Natsu, and they both sort of land on their feet together, and take a breather, as they, continue to stare Dogramag down, basically in the same position they were at the start of the chapter. Because they're not really damaged at this point, Dogramag hasn't really hit them a whole lot, but they can't do anything, and Dogramag can, so eventually they're gonna fuck up. Anyway, Natsu tells Suzaku he's tough. And Suzaku responds, it is true. Our attacks do not faze him. And Dogramag just grins at them again. And Selene is back in her human form, still mortally wounded by Ignia. But she tells probably the Dragon Slayers, but it sure seems like she's talking to Happy here. He is a dragon renowned as a god. No human can hope to match him. Though, I mean, we have fought dragon gods before, though both Mercphobia and Alderaan were not, like, there were tricks to it. You know, Mercphobia, Natsu had Ignia's help, and also he didn't really have his consciousness, thanks to the whiteout. And Alderaan, you know, first had to, like, break up his, you know, 5-part soul or strength or whatever in the God Seeds. And only then, after a great battle, do they finally bring him down. Dogramag has none of that. And, you know, Selene, when Suzaku beat her, let herself lose so that she could kill Yorg. So yeah, they never really had a dragon god at full strength before, you know? So this is a brand new challenge for them. They're going to have to overcome them eventually before the series ends. But Happy turns to her, Selene. And Selene goes on, ugh. Were it not for these wounds, I would face him myself. And Natsu and Suzaku, I don't think you're hearing all this, but they're just like still hyper-focused on Dogramag. But even he has a weakness. And Happy looks at that kind of shock, and Selene explains, this labyrinth is his body, in a manner of speaking. And in so creating such a massive labyrinth, he scattered gemstones that sealed his power all throughout it. It was through these stones that the labyrinth expanded. Okay, so is this going to turn into, like, the orbs during Alderaan, or the God Seeds during Alderaan? I've read the exact thing with the orbs. You know, those orbs awakened Alderaan. Like, we thought they would wasn't it that we thought they would destroy his power, but they actually unleashed it with Alderaan? I don't remember exactly. It's been a few years since then. But it's a similar thing here? I don't know. But the fact that the gemstones seal his power feels like if they're destroyed, he'll just get stronger. Also, this does feel like it's tied into Eleftheria's mystery from a few weeks ago about, like, you know, why build the labyrinth? If Dogramag was alive the whole time, then the labyrinth was not a natural, like, extension of his death. There was a plan, and the gemstones seem part of that plan. A few of these stones were absorbed into his body when he rematerialized. However, a number of them have yet to be accounted for. Okay. There are portions of his power, but as of now, they are bestowing power onto him. In short, if all the stones are destroyed, his power will diminish. Okay. I'm trying to quite work out what... Like, that's kind of a confusing explanation. I'm not quite sure. So, the stones, as they exist, they're his power sealed, but they're also... He's siphoning power off from them, and he also has some of them in his body where they're protected. And so if they're destroyed, that won't give the power back to him, it will make it dissipate? Maybe? It's a little confusing, I think. But Happy asks, how many of these stones are there? 72. Oh, that's bad. That many? But they're all over the place in here, right? We'll never find them. But Selene... Oh, Selene's readying a spell. Don't worry yourself. We will follow their magic power. And don't forget, I can connect space. So yeah, she still has Aqua Era. She's barely holding on to life. But I guess she just desperately does not want whatever plan Ignia and Dogramag have to come to fruition. Which we still don't know a lot about. And I will say, despite the fact that I really thought Selene would kind of be off the playing field by now, I do really love this image of her barely holding on to consciousness, barely holding on to life, and still using magic, still fighting. It's just really cool. Also, a Selene Happy team-up is just fascinating. I think it's going to be really funny. And they warp right to Team Natsu, who, you know, kind of have run out of things, or Team Natsu and Gajeel, who have kind of run out of things to do for the arc. Especially Gray and Gajeel, who did nothing all arc. Happy, huh? Selene? And Happy notes, great, Carla, everyone! And then Selene just drags him through the portal as Gajeel reacts, hold on, where are Natsu and the others? What the hell's going on? And then Selene, and I love how like every single, like every speech bubble, every letter of her text is so shaky to indicate how fucking weak she is. And Selene turns to Gajeel. Gajeel, was it? You found a gemstone, did you not? And he pulled out of his pocket this orb that I think we briefly saw before, actually. Like, I feel like there was one bit of being like, what's this weird gemstone on the wall? And just, like, grabbed it. But Gajeel looks at it, this thing. And Selene picks it up. Still shaking, this is a portion of the Earth Dragon God Dogramag's power. A Dogra Core. And she just shatters it. The pieces are sent flying. And she tells them, there are now 71 Dogra Cores left to destroy. Help me. And that, Selene and we're on the same side now, because they don't have the context of the Ignia stuff. Shocks the rest of the gang. What? And Carlos, what are you saying all of a sudden? But Happy tells them all, there's no time to explain. Right now, Natsu and the Earth Dragon God are fighting. And if we don't break those stones, Natsu's gonna lose. But the rest of the gang does not even know that Dogramag is alive. The Earth Dragon God, and Gajeel questions, wait, isn't he supposed to be dead? And Happy is just like a blubbering mess. He's come back to life and running wild, and none of Natsu's attacks work on him. Wah! And Urza just tells Selene, stops Happy's crying. We will help you. And Gray asks her as he lets her down, Urza, are you alright? Yes. And she makes another Aqua Era portal towards Lucy and Virgo in one room. Huh? Guys? Lucy! And Loxus in another. Loxus! And everyone's they're not through the portals, they're just looking through the portals. And Selene notes, it seems everyone is here. Except for, I don't think anyone in Diabolos is here. Misaki might be unconscious in the corner, and Haku was with Wendy, so I think Misaki and Haku's unconscious bodies are together, and Kirian's might be with Loxus. So maybe she is gonna wake up the Dark Dragon Slayer Knights and be like, all right guys, it's time for a team up. But anyway, Selene comments, it seems everyone is here. And Loxus has not met her, I guess. I think she only appeared in dragon form at the beginning of the arc. Because Loxus just wonders, hold on, who is she? And what are you doing there? And Selene tells them all, I will explain later. At this rate, the world will be destroyed. I beg you, lend me your power so we may defeat Dogramag. To be continued. Okay. I'm sort of left pondering Selene here. Because destroying a world is sort of what Selene did back in Elantir. She was stopped in the end by the destruction of Altaphase, but she didn't really care if Elantir fell. And maybe it's, Earthland is her homeland, and her whole thing about the Age of Dragons being over, it's time to usher in the Age of Man, and so, she's cares more about Earthland than she does Elantir, which, for a redemption works. We're not really expected to believe that Selene is, a good guy now. She just doesn't want to die, and she doesn't like whatever Ignia has planned. And she wants to stop that. The world will be destroyed. I don't know. That's an interesting line there, I will say. Because I did not get the impression that Ignia and Dogramag wanted to destroy everything. It felt like Ignia had the line to Dogramag about wanting Natsu to see the new world he creates. That doesn't feel like he wants to destroy the world. He wants to create a new one. So I don't know. I'm hoping sooner rather than later, especially now that Selene is on our side more or less, and she knows what's going on. Sorry, I lost train of thought there for a second. Now that she knows what's going on, she can tell us what's going on sooner rather than later, because she knows these things. She's well aware of what's going on here in a way that none of the humans are. So hopefully we'll get answers soon. But yeah. Anyway, the rest of the chapter, I thought the Dogramag fight was fun. We sort of see how outmatched they are, and it does seem like we're sort of continuing the tradition through 100 Years Quest of only being able to beat the dragon gods by weakening them somehow. You know, we had, like I said, white armor phobia, and plus igneous flames. We had the god seeds. We had now the Dogra Cores. And with Selene, we had Ignia do it for us. And now sorry, I already said the Dogramag thing. I'm losing track of my thoughts all of a sudden. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on with me today. But anyway, it's, you know, I'm not sure how I feel about the Dogra Cores. Like, on the one hand, I get it. You know, I know there's a certain subset of fairy tale fans who will say anything's better than it being, you know, power of friendship or whatever. I'm always a lot more friendly to power of friendship stuff than a lot of people, but I know how it is. But also, it just feels like we've done this before. It feels like, you know, another thing that has to be destroyed to weaken the real villain. And also, I really just don't think Dogramag should be losing here, in my genuine opinion. I think that, like, you know, because Dogramag is set up to be with Ignia as this sort of, you know, main villain duo, offing him here right when he's resurrected feels weird. I still don't think it'll work. I don't know what will end up happening to stop him from dying, but I don't think he's dying here, or even losing for that matter. I still think, you know, maybe Natsu and Suzaku have like a Pyrrhic victory against, or like not a Pyrrhic victory, like barely winning against his human form, and then he flies off. I'll deal with you later. I'm not killing Natsu right now, as per Ignia's orders. But yeah, I do like, you know, the sort of, it gives everyone something to do for the rest of the arc, especially Gray and Gijil, who didn't really do anything for the entire arc. Like, Lucy and Loxus and Wendy and Urza all had their big fights this arc, and Gray and Gijil were sort of on the sidelines for those. So maybe they'll get something to do, I don't know. And again, hopefully this alliance will give us some answers at last as to what exactly Ignia and Dogramag are up to, because we still just don't know. I saw my theory about, like, they want to turn everyone into dragons, to tie into the whole Age of Dragons versus Age of Man thing that Ignia and Selene have set up. But I don't know. I genuinely don't know where we're going with this, and I do want to find out. I think we can have a really good storyline here, and I can't wait to see what Mashima does with all this. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, you know, do whatever makes you happy, you know? And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!